Assalamualaikum everyone. As you all know, my name is Abudar Ansari, and in this video, we'll be taking a look at one real-life application in which computer science is heavily used. In this day and age, we often hear about Bitcoin or certain cryptocurrencies increasing in value, or different methods of transactions, whether that's in fiat currency, like what we have here in Canada, the currency that we use here in Canada, or a digital currency such as Bitcoin or Ethereum, or even trade between physical assets such as cars or homes. You might even be wondering how these transactions are actually made. Are they tangible or are they online? How does this information go into our bank accounts? And that is what we'll be exploring today: blockchain technology. Blockchain technology was invented in 1991 by Stuart Haber and Scott Stornetta for the use of timestamping digital documents in order to keep them protected. Despite its advantages, it wasn't used or popular until someone by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto allegedly invented Bitcoin using blockchain as a transaction method. The ultimate purpose of this technology is to allow fast, secure, and peer-to-peer network transactions. It is a trusted, decentralized network that allows for the transfer of digital value such as currency and data. Decentralized meaning it's not controlled by an authority or a government. Now, according to an article published by the IBM, blockchain is a shared, immutable ledger that facilitates the process of recording transactions and tracking assets in a business network. Now, that's a lot to digest there, but to put it simply, you can imagine blockchain is a digital database similar to an Excel sheet or any spreadsheet, for that matter, that is shared across multiple computers, forming a large network. Every time the network alters the database, so let's say there was a new transaction, the value of a certain share decreased or increased, a specific shareholder sold one of the shares that they were a shareholder of. These are changes. Once changes of these nature are made, the whole network is notified as it is automatically updated across all the computers connected to this network. And additionally, to prevent hackers from gaining access or making changes to this information stored in blockchain technology, this form of technology incorporates three-factor authentication: the hash chain, proof of work, and acceptance by the peer-to-peer network, which we'll be explaining all right now. So here's an example of one block in a blockchain. Each block consists of data, hash, it could be to any code that denotes this block's value, and the hash of the previous block. So here is the first block, for instance. The first block is often noted as the Genesis block. And the reason it's noted as this because if you notice the hash of the previous block, there is no block before this. So hence the hash of the previous block, so you can say, is 000, or it could be blank. But it holds data and it has a hash. This block itself has a hash. And then after this, when there's a new set of data, there's another block. Now this block has data, it has its own hash, and on top of that, it has the hash of the previous block. So this orange block, it connects to this block through the hash that it can refer to it. And now you have another block, and it keeps on going. So they all refer to the previous block, and once it comes to this first block, it doesn't refer to anything, and it's called the Genesis block. Now, so how does this actually work, or how does this actually benefit the hash chain? So how does that benefit in terms of security purposes? So let's say someone tampered this specific block, so they got access to it, and they hacked it, and they changed the value. Essentially, blockchains are very long chains of blocks. They're not just 3 or 4. They're very long chains of blocks. So that individual has to change all the blocks that come after it for it to actually be, or for the individual to get access, because once they change this, now when this is referring to the hash of this block, it'll get an error because the hash of the orange block will actually change. So as I said earlier, they have to change all the hashes of the next block in order to successfully gain access. But not only that, there's something called the proof of work, which is some time that's delegated by the system to allow a new block to be created. So, and for instance, for Bitcoin, that's about 10 minutes. So essentially, not only does this hacker have to change the hashes of all these blocks, they also need to do the proof of work of all the blocks coming forward. And on top of that, there's the peer-to-peer network. So you have a network, as we explained earlier, of many people, or of many computers that have access to this. And once a change is made, so after the hacker is successfully able to change all the blocks and do the proof of work for all the blocks, then the network has to accept it. If more than 50% of all the people or all the computers connected to this network accept this change, that's the only time that this change or this hack will be accessed, or the hacker will have access to this information or the data that this blockchain system holds. So to summarize it, the hacker has to create new hashes, has to tamper all the blocks. So let's say again, they want to hack this one right here, the orange block right in the middle. They have to change the hash of all the blocks coming after. They have to do the proof of work. And on top of that, they have to hack at least 50% of all the computers that in the network, which is almost impossible to do. And that's what makes blockchain technology unique when it comes to its security. Now, moving on to the key developments in which blockchain technology, or the key developments and applications of blockchain technology. So, the biggest application, as we also hinted earlier, is in cryptocurrencies, primarily Bitcoin. In some countries around the world, blockchain is partly replacing the traditional banking system, adding more security to account holders, reducing costs by approximately $19.8 billion every year, and keeping transparency with financial institutions. Another interesting use of blockchain is in the healthcare industry. Hospitals and clinics will be able to secure patient information as well as log any data needed. The interesting facts: about $69 million were donated to charities through blockchain based transactions just in 2018. The identity of the inventor of Bitcoin is still a mystery, and if you go back, I said Satoshi Nakamoto allegedly, so even the inventor of Bitcoin is not yet exactly known. And although it is widely accepted that Satoshi Nakamoto, with Japanese American origins, did create Bitcoin, there are many different theories about how this whole thing aroused, this whole Bitcoin using blockchain technology came out. And in countries such as Switzerland, Malta, and Gibraltar, These are three countries that have integrated blockchain into most of their institutions. So their banking system, some of their healthcare system, their currency that they use on a day-to-day basis, or is widely accepted through blockchain. So now that we have discussed some of the key developments and some interesting facts, what is the future outlook for blockchain? Blockchain technology is expected to exponentially increase in the market, growing to more than $60 billion by 2024, or having a value of more than $60 billion by 2024. And although there are only about 40 million users of this technology today, reports suggest that about 80% of the world will be functioning through blockchain technology within the next 10 years. So that's a major outlook that this technology has in the future. And we could almost already see it through Bitcoin and the different cryptocurrencies coming out, as well as transactions being done in through NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and even in the law system, in the judicial system in some countries, they're actually using blockchain to secure access to the evidences that they have. And these are my references from which I got my information from, and Jazakallah khair for watching this.